Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the Broadbeach Bowls Club for a very exciting announcement for the sport of lawn bowls. My name is Tony Sherwell and I have the pleasure of emceeing this special announcement. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the Yugambeh people, the traditional custodians on the land in which we meet today. I'd also like to pay my respects to elders and their descendants, both past and present. I'd also like to acknowledge the dignitaries that have joined us here for this morning's announcement, including the Assistant Minister for Tourism and Industry Development, Megan Scanlon, Bowls Australia Board Director, Wayne Turley, OAM, reigning Australian Open Men's Champion, Ryan Bester, Bowls Queensland Board Director, Brian Stewart, Broadbeach Bowls Club Chairman, Barry Gilbert, and Secretary, Colleen Gilbert, Broadbeach Bowls Club members, the Australian Open participants, volunteers and officials involved in this year's competitions. And we also welcome the attending media who will cover this important announcement for the sport of bowls and the City of Gold Coast. During this announcement, details surrounding the future of Bowls Australia's marquee event will be detailed from government and bowls dignitaries. And at the conclusion of the formalities, there will be an opportunity for one-on-one interviews with today's speakers. At the conclusion, we will also try to facilitate a media pick and vision grab if requested, noting there is a competition taking place on the greens. But I would like to now welcome to the lectern Assistant Minister for Tourism and Industry Development, Megan Scanlon, to make the announcement.
Thank you very much, Tony. Well, this morning I'm really pleased to announce that for the next 5 years, the Gold Coast will be hosting the world's biggest open lawn bowls competition. This is a great legacy from the Commonwealth Games. We, of course, hosted the Games here on the Gold Coast. And I understand that this year's event itself has record numbers, 1,600 participants, I think 300 people from countries outside of Australia. So that's not only fantastic for the event itself, but it's also really good for the local economy. The more people that we have travelling to the Gold Coast means more people in our hotels, it means more people spending money at our small businesses, and it's great for the local clubs. 13 local clubs on the Gold Coast will also be part of this competition, which means revenue for them behind the bar. It's just a fantastic legacy from the Commonwealth Games, and I want to congratulate Bowls Australia. Of course, the Broadbeach Bowls Club, they've done a fantastic job here. This was a facility that was upgraded for the Commonwealth Games, $4 million worth of investment. It's looking fantastic. Congratulations to all of the competitors and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Assistant Minister. I'd like to now invite Bowls Australia Board Director Wayne Turley, OAM, to speak on behalf of the nation's governing body for lawn bowls and the Australian Open controlling body.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Assistant Minister Scanlon, for making this exciting announcement for the Australian Open Lawn Bowls event. The City of Gold Coast has already solidified itself as a lawn bowls mecca after staging a magnificent Gold Coast's 2018 Commonwealth Games and the sport's biggest and most lucrative bowls event, the Australian Open, annually from 2015 to 2019. But today's announcement that the Gold Coast region will remain the home of the Australian Open for a further 5 years, from 2020 to 2024, ensure it remains the bowls capital of the world well into the future. I would like to publicly thank and acknowledge Tourism and Events Queensland and the City of Gold Coast for the continued support and recognising the appeal of the sport of lawn bowls for this fabulous event. The Australian Open is the pinnacle of bowls participation not only in this country but worldwide, and also the richest open bowls event in the world, distributing more than $250,000 in prize money annually. As it participated, more than 12,500 entrants will compete in the Australian Open events over the next 5-year period, and more than $1.25 billion in prize money will be awarded to those competitors. Bowls Australia are proud that the Australian Open is an age and disability inclusive tournament, catering for under 18s and over 60s, multi-disability and vision impaired disciplines, and everyone in between. And if you do get a chance, please get up to Musgrave Hill later on the week to see the disability bowls. They're fantastic competitors. We're also very proud the Australian Open awards the same prize money amounts for both male and female, and those will be the same amounts that will be broadcast exposure for both genders. The Australian Open utilises Gold Coast clubs from as far south as Coolangatta which is far north as Finley, and I congratulate the 13 clubs that have continued to utilise the stage, the Australian Open, and look forward to them staging the most successful event to date. With the support of Tourism and Events Queensland and the City of Gold Coast, Bowls Australia are pleased to call the Gold Coast the home of the Australian Open Bowls competition. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. I would now like to call upon the reigning Australian Open men's singles champion, Ryan Bester, to join me at the lectern. For the uninitiated, Ryan is a multiple Commonwealth Games medalist, the defending Australian Open winner, and the bowling coordinator here at Broadbeach, which is the finals venue for all the competitions of the Australian Open. Ryan, this announcement this morning begs the question, Australian Open, you're on your home deck, how many do you plan to win in the next 5 years?
Hopefully a couple. One goal is I haven't won the fours yet. I was lucky enough to win the pairs about 11 years ago, the singles last year, so hopefully the next 5 years win the fours title.
I'm sure you'll be able to. In all seriousness though, you must be particularly pleased to have this event on the greens in the Gold Coast.
Yeah, I moved up to the Gold Coast for 7.5 years, particularly for, it's probably the mecca of bowls in the whole world. Great facilities, great greens, great weather, so I love living here, and it's just fantastic that it's here for another 5 years.
So you mentioned you're an international player, but you're also a local. How does this event compare to all the other events you've seen around the world?
The main thing that it's open, that anyone can enter it, doesn't matter what, say, pedigree you play in, age, anything, anyone can enter it, which is fantastic. So this year, a record number, 912 in the men's singles. So I think that's what caters it. Some other events are a bit closed, where here, anyone from any country, any bowler in the world can come and enter it, which is great, and get to play against the best players in the world.
Yeah, too true. So this time last year, you were in the final of the Australian Open, you got up, you got the trophy, you get to hoist that up. How does that rate among many of your achievements that you've had throughout your career?
I rate very highly. Obviously, I play for Canada, but every country can only pick one singles player. And Australia has probably 100 people that can win the World Commonwealth Games singles, so it's good that everyone can enter it. I know the last couple of years, Alex Marshall is probably the best player in the world. He's got to play here at the World Championship next year, so hopefully guys like Alex Marshall, Shane McElroy, Aaron Wilson, Aaron Sheriff, everyone in Australia and the rest of the world can come and play against the best. So I rate that very highly with that.
Thank you very much for joining me on stage, Ryan, and thank you very much with your all the best. With your pursuit for back-to-back titles this year.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, this brings to an end the official announcement that the Australian Open will remain on the Gold Coast from 2020 to 2024. I'd like to extend my sincere thanks to Assistant Minister for Tourism, Industry Development, Megan Scanlon, Bowls Australia Board Director, Wayne Turley, and reigning Australian Open men's singles champion, Ryan Bester, for speaking today. Our dignitaries are available for interviews, so I welcome any attending media to be engaged with our speakers after this morning's presentation. But I thank you all for your attendance at the Australian Open and enjoy the best bowls you'll see on the coast. Thank you.